Welcome back, Arcadians. Alex here with another video, and a very Merry Christmas to you all. Hope you're having a fantastic time. Seems a bit funny for me sitting in this chair again. I haven't done this for such a long time, but I thought we'd do an end of year wrap up at the Arcade Archive because I cannot believe it's been open a year now. It just blows my mind. Who would have thought it 2 years ago that I would have been opening up an arcade museum? So I thought we'd just look back on the whole year and what we've achieved, really, because it's been amazing. We got off to a fantastic start. We managed to get onto BBC Points West, which was a regional BBC news programme, and then the next day it went national on the national news. And when your mum rings you up on a Sunday morning, you know you've done something, whether it's good or bad. But it was great to have that for the museum. So it just basically gets us out there and more people know about the museum. And you know, it was great. We were selling out, but we didn't have all of the games working. And that's always been my main goal, was to get all of the games working in the main arcade. Not so much the entrance room, because I used the entrance room for doing my talks as people came in, as I welcomed the Arcadians into the museum. I'd like to do a bit of talk, a little bit of history about all the games, because we've got so many fantastic games in there. You know, Atari Pong, you know, the first successful video game. We got Midway's Gunfight, the first game to have a microprocessor. You know, the EM Gunfight, which is the mascot for the museum, really. We can't wait to get that working. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But you know, all the games that we have in there have a story and some history behind them. So I love just talking to people, welcoming them into the museum, and then letting them go and play and letting all that nostalgia come flooding back. I just absolutely love it. I love being there on a Saturday and just seeing everyone and joining in as well, because I join in with some of the competitions that we have going, or if someone challenges me to a game, I love that. I revel in that. But I don't revel in people that come down and beat my scores. And there's been plenty of them. We've had some fantastic players at the museum. It's been incredible watching them. It really has. But just the atmosphere in this place is just how I remember it from back in the day. It is so cool. It really is. Just listen to all of those games. How many games can you recognise? So many. So much nostalgia. It is just so cool. But what you can't hear, because I can't play it to you because I'll get a strike, is the classic 80s music, because we now have a music license which just adds another layer to the atmosphere of the arcade, which is super cool. It really is. Now, what makes up for the great atmosphere in the Arcade Archive is not only you guys that come and visit, but also the games itself. And we've had some amazing new games added to the collection over the last few months. And I've got to say a huge thank you to the people that have loaned the machines that make it what it is, because without you guys, half of these games wouldn't exist in the museum. Games like Atari's Battlezone, incredible machine. I never thought we'd ever get something like that for the museum. I mean, that absolutely dominates the arcade with its height and its whole visual. I mean, it's just an incredible sight to see and an amazing game to play. I mean, just a game that you can't emulate at home. It's just so cool. We also got Gorf later on in the year. That was a great addition. Again, fantastic attract mode with the synthesized speech. A game that I have real fond memories of playing when I was a kid in the arcades in Littlehampton. And I think for many people that come to the museum, so much nostalgia, because it was one of the first games that had synthesized speech. So really chuffed to have that for the museum. We've had so many games added to the museum, I can't keep up with the videos, to be honest with you, because of course we had Archie McLean's Millipede, which is a beautiful machine. It's a piece of art on its own, doesn't even have to be turned on. It's such a delight to see, and to have it from Archer's collection on loan to the museum and having his high score still on that game is incredible. I mean, there's so much history there. It's just lovely to have that in the museum, as well as many, many more games, which I'm going to do so many more videos on. But guys, these games take a lot to keep working, and there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that you don't see, which hopefully I'm going to include more of next year, because, you know, we've got a lot of volunteers helping me out. Holly especially, who's come on recently in the last few months and really taken on a side of running the museum, which I'm not so good at, like the bookkeeping and everything else. So Holly's been a real asset, not only to the museum, but for me as well, taking a lot of the pressure off me so I can concentrate much more on doing videos, because, you know, the day-to-day runnings of the museum takes up a lot of time. So doing that and doing building and doing videos, just too much. So she's taken a lot of that pressure off so I can concentrate more on the restorations. If I'm restoring more cabinets, I can do more videos, and that's exactly where I want to be. So a huge thank you to Holly, as well as the other volunteers that have helped out. John, who helped out early on, repairing a lot of the monitors. Paul helped out on Sprint, and of course Tony, who's helped. You've seen a lot of my videos with the hints and tips on a lot of these games, which is great. I love to get inside the game, learn, you know, how the mechanics work in the game. Tony's been my arcade guru, so thank you so much, Tony, for that. It's been absolutely amazing. And then there was the Crash event organised by Chris Wilkins of Retro Fusion. Now, this is mainly a Spectrum event, but we really wanted to support Chris because he's not only loaned us a lot of machines to the museum, but also donated a lot of parts as well, which were coming really useful for getting our games working. So we wanted to support Chris, go along to this event, but also meet the community as well. Although, you know, it's not an arcade event, it's all connected in one way or another, and it was just great to meet people and have the Retro Collective banner there on display. I think we took 10 cabs all in all. Extremely exhausting, loading 10 cabinets up into a Luton van just for one day. But, you know, it was great. I sold my first bit of merch there at the event, and it was just great to meet people, you know, and just get the name out there, get Arcade Archive recognised in the community. So hopefully more of those to come. What did you get?
1127. Get in.
Something else I've had to consider since setting up this museum is the general maintenance and upkeep of the arcade, because, you know, with foot traffic coming through every weekend, things start to look a little bit tired, and some things that you planned and did originally just don't work, like this slope, for example, which I created when we first did all the building work. We had a rubber matting over this slope, but it kept getting caught on people's feet, and it just looked a bit tired after a while. So we ripped that out, and here you can see me applying some black paint mixed in with some sand just to give people some grip if they've got wet shoes walking over this slope, and that really worked really well. And also the walls, these are really old Cotswold stone walls, really soft, really chalky, really porous, and there tends to be a lot of staining coming through, so that's quite a regular thing to keep the walls fresh with a new lick of paint. But the entrance room, really, I haven't known really what to do with this room. I mean, we've had cabinets in there, it's a great backdrop for my videos, and I wouldn't change that. And, you know, sometimes when we've got cabinets in there, they're great talking points, but it does need a revamp, it needs rethinking, and, you know, I've been trying to get my head around this for quite a while, but Richard's come to the rescue. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head off over to the museum, have a chat with Richard, because I think he's got some fantastic ideas. So we're in the entrance room. We had plans for this at the beginning of the year, but I think the main arcade has kept us busy trying to keep all those games working. Yeah. And now they're all working, I think we can now finally focus on revamping this room.
You've learnt a lot over the year with people coming in, how they visit, how they want to talk to you. This room can be a bit quieter, so people come out of here, have a little chat with you, or with a collection of themselves. So it's quite nice that this room could be a sort of a secondary part of the arcade, as well as a multifunctional room that you always planned with the YouTube set and everything else.
So with an idea and a plan in place, we thought it'd be better to try and visualise what we were trying to create by marking on the floor with some masking tape the area designated for the desk, and the wall which kind of separates the entrance room into a kind of passageway and channels people into the arcade, as well as hiding a lot of the cables that will be on the other side of the wall of the arcade machines.
So I think the entrance desk is quite important. When people come in, they want to be able to see that they're in the right place. They've got someone to talk to make sure that they can then go into the arcade, it's all okay, and they understand it. So that's quite nice if they've got a little bit of an entrance way there, but keeping the flow into the arcade. And then, because you wanted some more machines in here as well.
I think so, we can rotate them.
Having that on the other side of the room will allow people to walk in, find a machine, a bit like you did back in the day in the arcades. It was always around a corner. You're always finding hidden gems, little machines, different things. So we can have some special machines that we're working on that people can come in and play as well. So I think it's going to work really well in this little room.
Yeah, I mean, it's been nice having this here, and I think this is always going to be sort of our mascot for the museum, isn't it? The gunfight.
Yeah, it's the one that sort of started it all off, really, and one we'll be getting to early next year. So yeah, being able to actually play it, standing side by side, it needs to be on show and it needs to be used. So this is a perfect place for it, really. We can always move it around. All of these things that you're planning with the walls, they're all going to be movable, aren't they? So if we need to clear it out to have a special event in here or do something else, it can do that. So they're all going to be removable parts for the entrance.
And as we're talking about plans, I can't wait to tell you about the exciting news in regards to the Sega Gunfight electromechanical game.
We're currently getting all of the materials we need to restore this. So to clean everything up, to repaint, which I think you're really looking forward to on that play field, getting all that up and running. And the plan is to try and prepare all that in January and then start in February.
So exciting.
Yeah,
it's really exciting.
It's really exciting. It's probably the most exciting machine restoration we're going to be doing next year. So, I mean, who knows? We might get other things, but I'm so looking forward to diving into this and getting it all up and running. It's one of those things where it's a labour of love. It's going to have a lot of time and energy put into it. Yeah. But at the end, we're going to have a magical machine to use for the arcade. And it is. It's been the Arcade Archives mascot. So definitely. Yeah, one we're probably going to keep forever, I think.
Most definitely. We've got that one as well. Yeah. Two gunfights.
The gunfight. But yeah, mechanical first, and we'll see how we get on with that early in the year. Obviously, as you say, we've got this entrance to build, sprint to finish. Yeah. That's all going to be sort of January-ish time, and then February, we're going to be looking at the gunfight, very exciting. Yeah. And then future, we've got a couple of different things. I think you were talking about the Konami bubble system that we were going to take another look at. We've already had one quick look at it. I've fixed a few of the parts on it, but it needs quite a lot of those capacitors changed because a lot of them are shorted out. So we've got to do that before we power it up and then see what's in there, see whether we've got a game.
Again, another PCB I've never seen before, don't know anything about. So it's a history lesson for me, but it'd be also very exciting to get that working and have that up and running.
Yeah, it's a real gem. It's another one of those special machines that just a point in history where things were just moving at different speeds. So you had technologies moving, and they thought this was going to be the way forward to have cartridge-based, game systems, and it worked. But then very quickly, solid-state storage took over, really. So
very quickly,
nice idea, but didn't quite catch on.
All these are going to be videos for next year, hopefully, which I'm really looking forward to. Yeah, it's going to be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I'm looking really forward to it as well, Alex, and yeah, can't wait to get on with everything. Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us again, Richard.
Thank
it's going to be
you.
an exciting 2024. Can't wait.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
So as you can see, there is a real team effort to keep the museum running on a weekly basis. So much work has to be done behind the scenes, and I can't thank all my volunteers enough, because at times it's been extremely disheartening for me. I mean, there were mornings where I had turned up just before I opened the doors to the public and 2 or 3 machines would go down, you know, and I didn't have the excess working cabs in the background just to bring and swap out. So at times I got really down about it. I just, you know, I found it really difficult, and without the support of the people behind me, Richard and Neil have been really supportive. Holly, who's come on board and really helped out with not only my bookkeeping, but keeping the games working. I mean, she's a real asset to the museum. She really is. So I can't thank you enough. It's been absolutely amazing. So without that support, I don't think I could have survived, because there was points in the year I was actually getting really disheartened, really down, and just finding the whole thing a little bit too overwhelming. It was a little bit too much, because, you know, I'm still working as a builder, you know, paying the bills. My goal is to eventually hang up the trowel and do this full time, be in the museum full time, make more videos, but make better videos, and do, more importantly, the restorations. We've got so many cabinets that need restoring, which I can't wait to get my teeth into. And these will make fantastic videos as well. So that's where I want to be. So what I'm saying is, your support, without your support, I couldn't do this, because there were times where I could have just thought, you know, this is just too much. But I've stuck in there, and I just see next year going forward to be the year where we've laid the foundations this year. Next year we're going to build on that and create something even better and even more special, with even more games and more videos. That's where I want to be. So we have so much to look forward to in the new year, we really do. Starting off with my first video, which I can't wait to edit and get that out there for you, because this is a video of a bunch of friends and collectors that go up and help a family out who had one of their family members pass away, who was a collector but also an operator. So we've helped the family out, and we've managed to secure a lot of PCBs, spare parts, and some arcade machines, and there's so much content there. There really is. This video will probably be a 2-parter, so look out for that in the new year. Can't wait to do that video, as well as my second channel. If you haven't already subscribed to the second channel, it's called the Arcade Archive Vault. I'll put a link in the video below. This is going to be mainly a spontaneous, off-the-cuff channel which complements the Arcade Archive, basically. So live streams from the museum, so we're doing a night in the museum, as well as pickups and other kind of stuff, all related. So can't wait to get a live video out on that channel, hopefully in the new year. As well as this arrival, which I haven't even mentioned yet. This is a snapshot of what you're going to see in the new year. This is a game that I've been after for years. You don't often see a game like this come up. In fact, this is probably the first I've seen in 10 years. It is Atari's Paperboy. This needs a lot of work, it needs restoration, and unfortunately it's going to have to take the back of the queue, because we have so many other games to work on first. But guys, with your support, I can get to this earlier. I can spend more time in the museum, and I can get more of these games working for you to enjoy when you come down and visit, because your support is key here. So I've got to say a huge thank you to all of you that have subscribed this year, and all my patrons that support me on the channel. So guys, that is it. That is my end of year wrap up. I hope you have a happy new year, and I'll see you next year. Until then, take care, and I'll see you on the next one.